So I've defined an h1, an h2, and an h3 inside of this HTML document. And now let's use variables to create a style for those headings. To define a variable, we have to use colon, root, followed by opening and closing brackets. And inside of this root element, we can now define our variables. So let's say, for example, we want to have a variable dash dash Goku, for example. So you use a dash dash followed by the name of the variable that you want to use, followed by the value for this variable. And then in our case, let's say the variable has the value black, for example. Now let's also create the variable dash dash Vegeta, for example, which will have a value of blue, for example. And obviously you can also use useful names like dash dash primary, for example, or primary color, which could be yellow, for example. So now we have 3 variables right here. To use those variables, we can now say h1, for example, should have a color. So we define a color property. And now to use a variable, we use the var keyword, followed by opening and closing brackets. And as you can see, we can now select the variable we want to use right inside of those brackets by using dash dash and the name of the variable. In our case, let's use dash dash Goku. And maybe Goku doesn't make too much sense because Goku is black as well. So let's use Vegeta probably. That wasn't probably the smartest move, but we need a different color. And as you can see, now we have a blue text right here for Vegeta. And we can also use dash dash primary color right here. So now we get this effect. So as you can see, by using variables, you can start to define a lot of styles. You can also say dash dash border radius, for example, and you could say your border radius should be 20 pixels, for example. And now you would have a variable that defines the border radius for your document. So every time you want to use the variable, you're just going to use var followed by the variable name. And if you want to change the border radius for the entire document, you don't have to go into every single element, for example, h1, h2, and change the radius, but you can just go to this one spot and say, okay, the entire document should now have a border radius of 10 pixels, for example. Or we want to use a primary color that is probably not yellow, but maybe red, for example. And as you can see, or orange, and now we have this orange text right here.